Hi, I'm DJ Ware. On this episode of the CyberGizmo, I'm going to be looking at a BSD distribution called GhostBSD right after this. I've had a number of users that have asked me on the channel, a number of viewers, I should say, that have asked me on the channel to look at GhostBSD, and so I took some time aside today to try to do that. I spent some time this morning, I tried to run it on hardware first, and the NUC 10 had some issues with the video. In fact, it booted, but I couldn't find any of the suitable drivers that would work, and that would mean that I would probably need to install some drivers on the NUC in order to get it to come up. It just, GhostBSD just did not see it. I've had that problem with other releases, so that's nothing new. I also tried KVM, and KVM, it will work, but I can't get it into full screen. It has to use the VESA drivers inside. I didn't really want to show it in that light. And so VirtualBox is what they recommend, and so that's what I'm going to run. So let's get started here. So GhostBSD is a Unix-like operating system that is based on FreeBSD. I did notice that out on the Wikipedia for GhostBSD it mentioned TrueOS as the base, but I can't find anything that it corroborates that on the GhostBSD. They talk about they're using FreeBSD for the baseline for this system. So I think the Wikipedia article is probably just wrong. The development, unless you guys know differently, and if you do, let me know in the comments below. Maybe they're moving to it. But the developer is Eric Turgeon, who leads the GhostBSD team. When you go to install this, your default desktop environment will be Mate. If you prefer XFCE, you could certainly do that one as well. It is released as a community edition, and you can download that from the same part of the site as the baseline OS. So the first release of GhostBSD was in March of 2010, so they've been around 10 and a half years or so now, and certainly are certainly popular. I mean, as many people have asked me to do this, it's okay, I will do it, and obviously it's well liked. So the current release is 20.04.08, and I assume that is the date of the release, August the 8th, or excuse me, August the 4th, 2020. It is a patch that has come out for it. And I think that is to fix an issue with the NVIDIA drivers loading. But the recommendations for this is a Pentium 4 or higher. I would suggest running this on a dual core. Running on a single core anymore, you'll run into, it'll be sluggish. You'll run into a lot of lag. You'll need 1 gig of memory and 20 gig of free hard disk space. Of course, you will need a network card and connection to the internet if you expect to be able to update the system. Sound card and NVIDIA 3D accelerated video card are recommended, it'll work without those. And in fact, I'm running under VirtualBox without a pass-through. So, yeah, it'll work without it, but you probably will gain some performance and some acceleration for any of the 3D apps, of course, if you have the graphics card. I don't know about AMD drivers. I don't know about that. I can check into it if you want, but I don't know offhand about those. Check the GhostBSD wiki if you want more information about hardware compatibility. Who's this really meant to be used by? Well, users and developers is really the target. As a working who are working on a need a desktop or a workstation environment. There's over 30,000 applications available for GhostBSD, as well as it does support the ports architecture as well. So if you prefer to compile your software and have it come in, you can do that as well. GhostBSD is a rolling release. and it does, and they do snapshots. That's what the version numbers are. I don't know how frequent that is. I don't know, so I'm not going to say. You can go out to the website and look. It looks like it might be monthly, it might be bi-monthly, I don't know. But it does support both BIOS and UEFI. The boot process differs a bit from FreeBSD because this is connected to OpenRC. And your default file system will be ZFS, which is what I will be using today to install this on. So speaking of install, let's go ahead and do that. I have my VirtualBox here, and I am running, just so if you attempt to do this yourself, this is 6.1.10, and that's what I'll be using today to run this on. Now I've already got it installed here, but I'm going to create a new release of this, and let's see, let's call this Ghost 2, and I'm going to just put this in my home directory. Oops. And it's not Microsoft Windows, but you see they do have some direct support for BSD, and FreeBSD is listed. Also, OpenBSD and NetBSD are listed here as well. So I'm going to give this 4 gig of memory because I have some plans for this after this is done. I'm going to play with it for a while and use it. Dynamic is fine, although not the best performance, but let's go just a little bit more. That's fine. I need to make one other change, and that's to the network. I want to make it bridged. It'll work under NAT, but let's see. Let's make sure that took. It didn't act right. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start this up. It's going to ask me to use, it's going to ask me to use that one that's my ISO. And yeah, you don't have to specify anymore. You don't have to go in and mount the ISO anymore. It'll ask you. So we'll go ahead and start this up. So it didn't have a problem starting X, so it didn't have to stop and go, hey, what's your driver? So it did get past that problem. So I could go ahead and, well, not all of it. It doesn't look like all of it is. But it did. Okay, so I could go in here and adjust my display, but it's not going to keep it anyway. So I'll just run this. And there's an update. Great. I'm just going to go ahead and install it with this default. Hopefully you can see that. If not, here, let me do this. Let me go up here and we'll do scaled mode so at least you can see this. And I'll bring this up. And then I'll turn it off when I actually adjust the video size. Okay, so hopefully that's a little bit better for you guys. And we'll go ahead and get this started here. So the first question is, what's my language? Well, it's English. Keyboard English US, yep. And then what time zone location am I in? They never have my city, but that's okay. You have a choice here between UFS. That's the Unix file system, and ZFS. Well, I'm going to use ZFS. I prefer that one. Then on the pool type, you can assign, if you have multiple drives, you can assign your mirrors and your stripe. Since I only have one, there's not much else I can really do there. I can change the pool name if I want by clicking this box and then entering the change over here. Tank's okay. And we'll go ahead and tell it to use that virtual hard drive. And looks like it's going to create a 2048 meg swap, a 2000 meg swap. That's fine. And then GPT is fine as well. Used the FreeBSD BIOS loader. Didn't give me really a choice there to use anything else. Okay, and it's asking me for the root password, and now it's asking me to set up a user. So we'll do that. And I don't want fish. I'm going to use ZSH. Since it's there. Been playing around with that. I'll probably do a video on ZSH when I get some time. I want to go through and kind of live in it for a month before I do any videos about it, because I want to make sure that I have a ton of bash experience, a ton of bash scripts, and so I want to make sure they work before moving over. They should, according to their documentation, but yeah, trust but verify, right? Okay, so this is going to be a bit, it's starting the install process. So I'm going to pause the video right here, and then I'll be back when it is done. It's done. Okay, so it is done. It is 4:35. I started about 4:31, about 4 minutes then. I'm gonna click in here. So I'll have to do this again, unless I hit the message and tell it not to show me that again. So I'm just gonna hit continue, because I'm gonna shut this down and remove the ISO. I don't know what its order is. I'll just remove it. Then I won't have to worry about it being in the middle of things. So I really don't want to come up and reinstall it again. We could do that. An infinite loop. We could sit here and do infinite loop installs. It usually takes a little bit to come down after the initial install. So, yep. Once you've gotten it installed and up and running, it doesn't take long to restart at all. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to close this up too. And then I'll go into settings, storage, go right there, and go right here, and remove the disk. Oops, didn't do it. I missed. Okay, so now it's gone, and now I can restart it and be assured that it is going to come back up on the operating system. Oh, wait, I need to do something here. Turn off scaled view. Oh, looks like I did it. Okay. Yeah, we don't want that again. Not this time. This time we'll do the real deal. I'll go ahead and change the display size. All right. Looks like we're good to go. It'll probably ask me to prompt. I'm going to tell it not to show me this again. Just remember that just remember to pay attention to which character it's using for you to get out of the virtual screen. So I'm going to go here to hardware. I'm going to go to displays, and we're going to set this. Let's see. I think I keep having that problem where it jumps out. All right, let's do that one. 1400 by 900, that's usually where I like to put it. Yep, that looks good. All right, so that's the base look of the system. It is Mate, as you can tell. It has if you've used Mate, it probably looks familiar to you. You have your some of your menus going across the top bar, and then you have your devices for sound and network, and then this is a laptop, so it'll have the battery, and then your date and time, and then down here is the panel So we won't probably see very much until we actually start running stuff. So I guess probably the first place to start with this is to update it. So let me go find, before we go through all the discussion about what it has available to it. And I did pick ZFS or ZSH, ZFS, ZHS, too many Z's. So I did pick Z shell, and the first time you bring it up, you have to tell it, oh, I want you to just give me the default one or put in one of your own. I'm gonna bump up the view of this a bit so that you can read what I'm doing. So as I had said in the FreeBSD, I'll put a link to that video, and so you can review. The package manager for BSD is PKG. And if you're familiar with the apt command set under for Debian and Ubuntu and the like, you'll find PKG's command structure very similar. So I'm going to do a sudo, and the first thing I'm going to is do a PKG update, and then I'll do a -f. If you want to know, what, let me go ahead and give them a super user password. There is a man page for it, and it will give you all the information about the different flags and so forth that you can use with this. So I'm going to be doing an update first, which of course fetches all the metadata about the packages and downloads those. They're not wrong. 32,096 packages is what's in here. So that's quite a few. And then I'm going to do a sudo package upgrade. And this will probably take a while, I'm going to guess, since it's quite a bit of distance between now and August. Oh yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. They always do. They always do the download, and then they do an integrity check and then install. So this may take a while. This part of it might take a little bit of time. So I'm going to pause the video here, and I'll be back when this is done. Okay, so it's done, and I made one slight mistake, and so I want to show you what that is. It wasn't slight. It was pretty major, actually. So I did that command right there, just doing the -y. That's not enough. You need to do a full, this would be like doing a full distribution upgrade. So that's what I did after. So yeah, 639 packages were updated versus I think it was 105. It took a bit of time, but it's done. And what I want to do right now, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. And I'm going to do a search for glances. I'm not sure what they call it on GhostBSD, so we'll find out. Wrong password. Okay, so well, it might help to spell it right. Pi 37. Okay. So I want to install htop, neofetch, my usual Pi. I'm not going to put out the 27. Actually, you don't need that. So yeah, you don't need the version. You can put it in if you want, but you don't need it. Okay, so that's all done. And now I'm going to do a restart on the system. I'm going to come up here and do a shutdown and a restart. Registry desktop is running. Let's see if I get rid of that and come back if this gave it enough time to finish up whatever it was doing. Yeah, it did. No, it didn't. I'm going to reboot anyway. I'm not going to wait. I'll be right back. Looks like Houston, we have a problem. I just tickled the menu and it took off, so maybe that package just wouldn't come down. Sometimes it happens after an update. I've seen Linux do that too. Or something just gets hung up after an update because all of a sudden it's got a dynamic library that changed and it goes, uh-oh, something different here. So yeah, I've seen that happen before. Not a big deal. Okay, so we're back up. And now we should be all updated on all the packages and everything, and still getting this issue. I think that's going to need some little investigation. I don't know if I'm just not getting, I don't have something configured right or what. So I guess the first thing I want to go do is this look and feel right here on appearance. And it gives me some choices. This is my current, which is kind of, as you can see, a light background, but I prefer the dark. And then we'll go set, this should be our desktop wallpaper. I'm going to choose, what's that one? That looks interesting. Oh, that's pretty. All right, so we'll go with that. And then I can change the fonts if I want, and I can change how it displays stuff on the screen. So, yeah, I don't think I need any more there. So let's start looking through here a little bit and see what we got. So under accessories, we have a character map. We have the Ngrampa archive manager, which of course is used to unzip files and uncompress stuff. So it's not a backup tool. Mate calculator, font viewer, search tool, Plank, which is down here, and then Pluma, which is a text editor, and then we have a way to take screenshots. Education, we just have LibreOffice Math. Graphics, I have Mate image viewer. Now you can put GIMP up if you want. It's available. LibreOffice Draw, Mate color selection, and Shotwell, which is a photo organization piece of software. We have Firefox. We have the Telegram desktop. Thunderbird for our email client, and then transmission to transmit files over BitTorrent. Office apps, we have a Trill, a document viewer, which would be used if you wanted to read PDFs and that kind of thing. Also, I think it also does PostScript documents as well, if I remember right. It's been a while since I used a Trill. The LibreOffice suite is all here. We have everything. And then the Mate dictionary. I'll bring up a couple of these after we talk about what's here. But MP3 player, you have your sound, which goes in just your what device you want to use by default, and then your loudness and so forth. You have VLC. It uses Kaja as the file manager, and HTOP I just put out. Log file viewer, which you'll need to be root, I'm assuming, to do that one. And then disk usage analyzer. I wonder if that's the same as it is under Linux. I will look at that in a minute. Mate terminal, which we saw already. Power stats. This is for if you're running under a laptop with a battery. It'll show you what your percentage charge is and your power draw and all that good stuff. Deconf editor. And then in places, you have your folders, your desktop, the entire computer, network, all that stuff. Connect to server. Let's look at that for a minute. Let's see how, yeah. So, okay, so any server that's out there, all right. Let's see what else we got. Network, let's see what we got here, what's showing. Oh, wow. So, it is showing myself. It allows me to go scan a Windows network. This is a Linux machine running on ARM. That's a Mac. And so this is probably using SSH as the protocol, since that's the only thing that's up on that one. So yeah, I bet it's using SSH for that. Very nice. Very nice. I think this is the first time where I have seen this many different machines come up on the network browser of Linux. I suppose you could play around with it long enough and you could probably configure it to get it to work, but I've never seen it do this out of the box. Let's see what else we got here. So, and then under system, we have our preferences for hardware settings, keyboard, mouse, power management, sound, and time and date manager, your network proxy, your look and feel, and personal preferred applications, which ones you want to start up and so forth. Oop, I don't want to add to the launcher. That's a different file management than, is that the same one? Oh, this is setting up how you want it to look. Okay, never mind. Go away. All right, so, and then lock screen, log out. You have some help here. This should go through the Mate. This should be the desktop guide for Mate. So yeah, it'll give you, if you're not familiar with Mate, it'll show you some basic skills, and then you've got some things about how you can customize it and how you can use it, all that good stuff. That's, again, documentation is important to me. If I'm moving between systems, I'll forget sometimes how to do something on one versus another because I use a particular desktop all the time, and I use Mate, for example, some of the time. So there are times where I have to go back and read the manual and figure it out, and to have it online, I just find that just a plus. That's great. So I want to do a couple of things first, and then we'll go look at some stuff. So I want to go into HTOP first, and since we just booted, I don't want to bring up any apps that would leave some cache files open. So 453 meg, that's pretty lightweight, and then I've got about 78 tasks running. So I wanted to get a view of the system before I actually started running anything. So that's pretty good, and we can quit out of that. Let's go back in, and we'll get the terminal emulator up this time. And I'll make this a little bigger for you guys to see what I'm doing. All right, so NeoFetch, what does it show? So 645 packages, and it updated 638. That was most of them. And then Z-Shell 5.8. I'm not sure what version is current. I'll have to look on the Fedora system to see which one is current. I was thinking there's one a little newer than that, but maybe not. And then it shows me that how the rest of the system is set up and what my default terminal font is, which is Droid, which is fine. And this is a 9750H, currently running at 2.57 gigahertz. It's gotten kind of quiet right now. And showing 853 megabytes out of 4 megabytes total in use. Let's see, let's try glances and see what glances tells me. The same 886 megs, so that was counting the app caches. As far as the load on the system, it's not particularly high. Now remember, your memory load is going to change when you start making file accesses to ZFS because it wants to pull things into memory and make things faster. So it's gonna learn what files are being brought in, and it's gonna cache them, and your memory pool is gonna grow over time as you access more and more files out of the ZFS pool. So it eventually will cap at a certain point, and it won't take any more. But usually the rule is with ZFS, if you got the memory, it'll take it. It'll take it. I'm actually running, now if I was running this under a ZFS RAID and I had a number of drives that I was managing, I probably would want to kick the memory up because 4 gig is not really enough for ZFS. But for a single drive, I can probably get by with it for a while. But let's see if I wanted to look at version. Let's see, I think it's just V. But it's different depending upon which one this is. Well, let's see if it'll give it to me. Just do a status. I was just curious as to which one it was using. So there's my status for the pool. And I can list, and it'll show me how much disk is being used. So I have 19.5 gig usable, 5.35 gig is in use. Not bad, not bad. Dedupe is off, good. And I don't know if this is doing compression or not. Typically, if you do, you can do this any way you want, but typically on their system drives, you don't get too crazy with compression because that's adding overhead to the system, and the system is going to be getting files in and out a lot. So, and then you have the ZFS command. Let's see what we get here on the different options. I was curious to know. I guess I could do this. I was curious to see which ZFS version they were running. This might be the latest one. OpenZFS. Yeah, well, 2020-08-21. Yeah, that's pretty new. So, yeah, of course, you would kind of expect that, wouldn't you? So there's the way the data sets are broken out. So my pool name is tank, and then you can see root initial, and then the lowercase root, and then you got temp, user home. So they have really broken this down so that, yeah, this would be equivalent to doing a partition under any ext4 or et cetera. So that's how your disks are broken up, even though they all share the same pool of available space. Now, I don't know. We would have to go look at each one of those and see what the options are set and see how they're using it. But not bad at all. And of course, the standard Linux type commands will work on BSD as well. The only thing is that if you're doing stuff like this, you'll notice that doesn't look complete, does it? That's because that's the user space. If you want to see everything on BSD, it's AUX. So, and then you'll get the full list. So just to let you know that's one of the differences. Now, on some BSD versions, they have combined the two. So PS minus EF will show you all. But on FreeBSD and this one, no, it's the old. It's the way, no, I shouldn't say old. That's not nice. It is the same way that Berkeley has always done their process stack and process list. So that's just the way it is. Now, what else do we want to know? I want to know what version of FreeBSD it's based on. 12.1 stable. Okay, that's the latest one that I know of that's out. So it's very current. And then I guess let's go look at some apps here. We'll leave that up in case there's something else we want to run. I guess the first thing I want to know is how well does this perform? You don't have a whole lot of choices for browsers under BSD. Chromium, Firefox, that's about it. As far as Chrome is concerned, no, sorry. I don't believe they have one for BSD, at least not one that I know of. Vivaldi, no, sorry, no version for BSD. And Brave, no, sorry, no version for BSD. So we'll check in a minute to see if Tor is available because that's a Firefox release and it should be there. But anyway, I was going to do a quick look. You can install ESR Firefox if you want, but I don't think that's the default. I think yeah, this is 80. So this is not the extended release or extended support release. So yeah, I'm sure this works. Let's do a search on. I was interested in something called. There used to be a programming language called flowchart. And I know flowcharting is one of those things that you used to use to document how programs flow data through them. But there used to be a programming language called flowchart, which was visual. So you could go in and you could just draw how you wanted the program to look, and then it would generate a program for you. So, but I was curious to see if that was still around and available for Linux. It came from Unix, and yeah, I'm just curious to see if it was still around. Anyway, yep, that works. So let's get out of here. Close the tabs. Bye. And I think let's see. I think the other thing I want to look at is LibreOffice, and we'll come down here. Come on, mouse. There you go. Looks like it's cleaning up something. It's real sluggish. Come on. All right. Yeah, there's something cleaning up after that run. Somebody is soaking my processor. Ah, okay. Well, we'll just kill that. It's 3360. There. Okay. Bad on you, Firefox. All right, so we have version 7. I mean, I could already tell that from the splash screen that came up and then the icons that are being used here. So I said 7.0.0.3 when I installed it, so I think that's probably the same thing. Yeah. Okay. I assume Firefox went bye-bye. It did. Let's see. Oh, I want to see Kaja. I want to look at that. That's right here. Yeah. That's kind of nice. You can change these to whatever you want, obviously. If you don't like the default Mate ones. I mean, they're okay. It's just brown. If you prefer the green, I'm sure you can get those as well if you want the. Yeah, Mate is normally green. But, other than the Firefox problem, and I don't know if that's an issue with Firefox or that's an issue with this on this release, but yeah, that wasn't a big deal to solve. As far as GhostBSD is for as a system, I think it's awesome. I think it's really nice. I think it's very responsive. I had plans to try to use this. I know Ansible is available for FreeBSD, and I know it's available for GhostBSD. So I have a server that's currently running Debian. And what I'm going to do is I'd like to get more of the recent packages, and I'd like to be able to update more of the systems that I have. And I think it might help to use BSD to do that, simply because then I can be doing backups and issuing commands to my ZFS home. So anyway, there's some some reasons to do that. And there's some reasons to want to do that. So it is an older NUC. It's a NUC 6, so it shouldn't be a problem getting it to run on that. Other than that, I think that's all I had for today. Overall, I like the release. I like the responsiveness of it. I like the fact that it's lightweight, and I like the fact that it uses ZFS as its default file system. So with that, let me know in the comments below what you think. I know there was some requests to do OpenBSD. I'll probably get to that eventually. That's another one of the another one of the BSD family that is, and then probably do one on NetBSD too. They all have different features and things that they bring to the table. So yeah, it's good to go and look at these. Anyway, that's all I had for today. I hope you enjoyed this today, and if you did, as always, please like and subscribe. Hope to see you all again real soon. And bye for now.